To be honest, I could look like... The biggest question I see these days is, do I need to do video for my podcast? When I first started, I didn't think much about what I was wearing. To be honest, I could look like it. Nobody could see what I look like. People aren't just listening anymore, they're watching. Don't show up in the tightest pants, the tightest t-shirt. You might look great in it and it might look good in the club. Welcome to another episode of Smarter Podcasting with me, your host, Neil Mackay, the podcast guy. I started my first podcast in 2019 called A Vietnam Podcast, and it's now grown into the top 5% of podcasts worldwide, and we're still getting more and more listeners every month, more than we've ever had before. I took what I learned from creating that podcast to then create 7 Million Bikes Podcast. Now, we are an end-to-end podcast production company that actually helped produce this show, and we've worked with over 100 podcasts, helped produce thousands of episodes, helped with millions of downloads, and helped many shows get to the top of the podcast charts. So I started this show, Smarter Podcasting, to help you make the best podcast possible. I'm going to share my tips, my tricks, and my failures to help you get there even quicker. Now, in this episode, I'm going to share with you something that I never thought I would be sharing. It's how to look good on video camera, and hopefully I look pretty good right now if you're watching on YouTube. As you know, I am an audio OG podcaster. I started with audio only. I reluctantly moved to video, and I clung on to the notion for the longest time that it wasn't a podcast if it was a video only show. Unfortunately, I'm in the wrong. I lost out on that battle. Not that I really battled much, but the biggest question I see these days is, do I need to do video for my podcast? And unfortunately, or fortunately, the answer is yes. You absolutely should do video for your podcast. People want to see what you look like. Even though I love audio-only podcasts like the Noiser Network, I'm addicted to those shows right now. And to be honest, most of the times, well, for me personally, I don't watch podcasts on video. I listen to them. But video is growing and growing, and people these days want to consume content. They want to consume video content, whether it's the short-form videos, which is the biggest reason why you should do video, or whether it's long-form content as well. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to share with you how to look good on camera for your podcast. When I first started my podcast, I didn't think much about what I was wearing. I mean, it's all about the conversation, right? But the moment I began recording video podcasts, then I realized something important. People aren't just listening anymore, they're watching. So in this guide, I'll share with you what I've learned from color choices and fabrics to accessories and comfort so that you can look your best and feel confident on camera. Number one, think about your podcast audience and your brand. If you get a pretty laid back, casual podcast, then you might want to just wear something casual and laid back. Whereas if you're doing a business podcast, you're giving advice, if you're an accountant, you're probably going to want to dress like an accountant or be in a suit. It would be pretty weird if you were doing a podcast giving financial advice and you were in your weekend clothes or your pajamas at worst. And think about some of the most famous podcasts in the world right now, like Call Her Daddy. I'm going to be honest, I haven't even watched it, but I know she has a blanket. That's all I hear about. She has a rug around her and they're all curled up on the couch. And a quick tip, if you have a co-host or a guest, try and make sure that you're not wearing the same color. We actually did an episode just last week with Thomas George, and we were both wearing plain black t-shirts, and he took one look at me and he's like, do you have another t-shirt here? And thankfully I did, so I had to change. So maybe talk to your guest beforehand. Make sure you don't show up in the exact same outfit unless you want to do that, and especially with a co-host as well. Make sure you give each other a quick text before the show and make sure that you have different colored outfits. Number two, pick colors that work on camera. This can be a massive mistake. So your best choice is earthy tones, and make sure you choose something that matches the background. If you've got a background that's all black acoustic panels, it's probably not best to wear a dark colored top or a black shirt. And on that note, try and avoid pure black if you can, as well as pure white. It doesn't look great on camera. And unless it's the vibe of your podcast, I would avoid neon colors as well. And then I would also avoid bright red. It just doesn't look good on camera. Number three, be careful with patterns and mixtures. So if you wear like little tight stripes and patterns, it can actually look kind of shimmery on camera and it doesn't give a good effect at all. So just wear plain t-shirts, plain colors, plain shirts. It's going to look best on camera, trust me. And as for fabrics, matte is your friend. So I'm wearing cotton right now. Linens are good as well. If you wear like shiny polyester as well, You have no idea how the light is going to bounce off of that. It's going to move as you move. We had someone here in the studio wearing a polyester shirt, and it looked okay in person while we were recording. But then once we looked at the footage, we could actually see the bright white light bouncing all over it, and yeah, it didn't look great. So matte fabrics, solid colors, and try and avoid patterns as best you can. Number 4, comfort matters as much as style. Now, as you know, podcasts can run long, and they seem to be getting even longer these days. You know, some of the biggest podcasts like Diary of a CEO, they're going for 3-4 hours now. You're also under the lights. It might get warm. Luckily, here in the Saigon Podcast Studio, we got aircon, so it doesn't get too warm, but it can sometimes. So you want to make sure you're comfortable so that you're going to enjoy the podcast and be able to give the best of yourself. So think about what you're wearing. I mean, you may not be able to see this right now, but I actually took my belt off because I was like, I'm going to be sitting here for 20, 30 minutes recording. The belt's going to dig into me. So think about things like that. Can you take your belt off on camera where it's not going to be seen? Don't show up in the tightest pants, the tightest t-shirt. You might look great in it and it might look good in the club, but are you going to look good sitting in a chair for 20, 30, 40 minutes, an hour, 2 hours? Think about sweat as well. You don't want to be uncomfortable. If you do sweat a lot, and everyone's different, some people do sweat more than others, make sure you wear dark colors. If you wear like light gray, or I can't think of another color right now, but if you wear something like light gray, those sweat patches are going to show up and it's not going to look good. That's where things like navy blue and black can actually look really good because it's going to cover those sweat patches. So just make sure you're comfortable as well while you're recording. And remember, when you're comfortable, your body language is going to be more relaxed. You're going to look more natural and you're going to make a better podcast. Number 5 is accessories, makeup, and hair. I know you want to wear big dangly earrings sometimes. You want to have that necklace on that looks really amazing. You just have to remember all of these things, especially if they're made of metal, can make noise and they can touch on the microphone, which is going to cause a big, big problem. So just think about whatever accessories you are wearing, male or female, that it could touch the microphone, it could bounce off of it. But I would minimize your accessories and just think about the impact that that may have on the podcast and how it's going to look as well. If you have beautiful earrings that are dangling down and you're moving the whole time, even just slightly moving your head, they're going to be swinging and swaying. And it's going to distract people, and they're going to spend more time looking at your earrings than listening to what you have to say. So just be very conscious of that. For hair and makeup, luckily for us guys, it's not really the biggest issue, is it? Like I feel pretty lucky that I can get ready much, much quicker than my wife. But for a podcast, I do make sure that my hair looks good. I mean, that is a big difference for me when I was doing podcasts at home, just audio only. Be honest, I could look like shit and nobody could see what I look like. I could do it the night after a big night out. Hadn't done my hair, no problem. Now, if I know I'm going to be recording a podcast, I have to make sure I've showered, have to make sure my hair's done, it looks good. I often forget to check. Tay, how's my hair? Does it look good? All right, I got the chef's kiss there. It looks good. I don't have to worry about makeup, but it's something that I probably should think about more. And I'll be really, really honest. Even though I'm 42, I still get the odd zit, and I got a bit of a zit on my nose right now. And I have used my wife's makeup to cover up a zit before. So even for the guys, you might want to think about using makeup. It can really help. For females as well, obviously, you want to make sure your makeup looks good, not too shimmery because it's going to bounce off the light. It's not going to look too great. So matte is best for makeup. And then for your hair as well, it's something that we do help with here in the Saigon Podcast Studio. We did it just last week. I would never think about these things if I wasn't married. I only know this because when I take a picture of my wife, she'll be like, why didn't you tell me about my hair? So now I'm more conscious of females' hairs. We did a show last week, and in the recording, I noticed just she had a single strand of hair across her forehead. But I was like, if I don't say anything, we're going to record this podcast. She's going to see it, and then she's going to be like, why didn't you tell me about my hair? So it's kind of awkward. Like, you don't want to tell some person that you don't really know that well, hey, by the way, your hair needs to be fixed. But thankfully I did it, and she was grateful. She just moved that hair out of her face. So when you are recording yourself, just think about that before you get ready, not just what you're wearing, what accessories you have on. Do you need to put on any makeup, whether you're male or female? And does your hair look good? Because at the end of the day, if you're recording yourself, you want to look your best self, right? Number 6, match your outfit to the lighting and the set. As I mentioned earlier, if there are jet black acoustic panels behind you, don't wear the same color because you're going to blend into the background and you don't want that. And then the biggest tip is if you are using a green screen, don't wear a green t-shirt or a green top that day. Otherwise, you're going to be whatever you've put on the background in your green screen. So that's really important. Don't do that. Number 7, don't forget to test your look before hitting record. You might look in the mirror and think you look great. Then you go into the studio, you sit down, and suddenly you realize that it doesn't look so great on camera. So do a quick test, look at the recording, see how it looks, see if anything needs to be adjusted, check your hair, check your makeup, and sit up straight, which is something that I always forget to do, especially for us men with a bit of a gut. And number 8, here's some extra tips to make sure that you look extra good on camera. Remember, if you're wearing glasses, it might cause glare from the light, so you might have to angle them at a certain way, or some studios might have polarized lenses, so that's not going to be a problem. I would avoid hats if you can. It just doesn't look that great on camera unless that's part of your brand and you want to do that. Avoid noisy material as well. I've done podcasts before on the road, mostly where I was wearing a windbreaker, like a polyester jacket, and the microphone was here. And then when I went to do the editing, all I could hear was the noise of the rustling of the windbreaker. So be careful with those fabrics that you wear, that they don't make noise, which is going to be distracting. And then, as I just alluded to, don't forget to sit up straight. And I'm probably not even doing it right just now. I've noticed more and more podcasts that I do that are video, as soon as the guest, and I'll be honest, it's mostly guys, as soon as they see themselves on camera, they immediately do this. And I think it's because us guys tend to have a bit of a gut, especially when you get to a certain age, right? So just remember, sit up straight, relax your shoulders, and don't forget that you can talk with your hands. You really should. I'm not doing it too much. Just you have to be careful that even though you talk with your hand, that you don't touch the microphone, because it's going to cause a noise that is really difficult to cut out. Trust me. The other thing we learned recently is if you talk with your hands, don't put them in front of your face, because then the camera is then going to focus on your hand and your face will become blurry. Or if you talk with your hands too much in front of your face, it just means we can't see your beautiful face. So don't forget to do that either. And last one, number 9, is the confidence factor. The main thing is that you feel good, you feel confident in what you're wearing and how you carry yourself. And it comes across so obvious on camera. When you feel confident in your outfit, you're going to be more relaxed, you're going to be more engaging, and that's the real secret. So just remember, what you wear on camera is just part of your storytelling. It's what you say and how you say it, but it is important. So remember these tips when you do go to do video. And if you're wondering if you should do video, then you know by now the answer is yes. If you have any questions, don't forget to get in touch. Thank you so much for tuning in to Smarter Podcasting. And if you want to work with 7 Million Bikes Podcast, go to 7millionbikes.com. There's a button in the top right that says Talk to Neil. That's me. And I'll be happy to talk with you about how we can help you make the best podcast possible. And don't forget, rate, review, subscribe, and share this podcast with other people who want to make the best podcast possible. Thanks again. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.